Hello students, welcome to the EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. Vandana Dave from Women Studies Research Center, Kurukshetra University. Today, I am going to talk about the module Growth and Role of Women Developmental Organizations in India, National and International Funding Agencies, Ministry of Home Affairs, Rashtriya Mahila Kosh, UGC, UNESCO, UNDP, UN Women. From the paper Women Development and Developmental Organizations. The learning objective of the module are to equip the reader with the knowledge of women organizations and national and international agencies who provide funds for the development of women. The educational experiments of late 19th and early 20th centuries produced a new woman with interests that went beyond the household. For the first time in India's history, women began to communicate with women outside their families and local communities. On the one hand, there was a small group of women who shared English as a common language. On the other hand, there were growing numbers of women literate in the vernaculars which enabled them to learn about women's issues in the new women's journals, encouraged by their male guardians to move with the times. They joined new clubs and associations formed for women. From small local clubs and women's auxiliaries of the Indian National Congress and the National Social Conference came a variety of organizations and associations that became the medium for the expression of women's opinion. At the same time, they were a training ground for women who would later take up leadership roles in politics and social institutions. These small organizations gave birth to a number of movements for social change and religious reform in the 19th century. The broad objectives of these movements were caste reform, improvement in the status of women, promoting women's education, and an attack on social practices like sati, child marriage, ban on widow remarriage, polygamy, etc., whose roots lay in social and legal inequalities and religious traditions of different communities. In the earlier phase of the social reform movement, the initiatives came largely from male reformers. Associations for women founded by men. The first organizations for women were begun by men who belonged to the new religious reform associations. These organizations took the lead to project important issues which adversely affected the status of women in the society. The most important of these organizations were the Brahma Samaj, Prarthana Samaj, and Arya Mahila Samaj. The Brahma Samaj was founded by Raja Ram Mohan Roy in 1825, tried to eliminate prejudices against women. Keshav Chandra Sen, the leader of Brahma Samaj, developed educational programs for women and stressed the need for educating women. Being the leader of Bengal, the influence of Keshav Chandra was confined to Bengal and North India. The Prarthana Samaj, with more or less similar objectives as Brahma Samaj, worked in Bombay. M.G. Ranade, R.G. Ranade, Bhandarkar, and N.G. Chandavarkar were closely associated with it. They were concerned with social reform, formed Bombay Widow Reforms Association, which arranged the first widow remarriage in 1869. Both the above movements stressed women's education with the idea to make them better wives and mothers. These movements were the outcome of the reaction of urban, Western educated men and aimed to change women's position within the family. Pandita Ramabai, wife of Justice Ranade, set up the Arya Mahila Samaj for the upliftment of women. It was of the view that through education, a woman could become an efficient housewife as well as she would be able to help others in case of emergencies. The National Social Conference was formed at the third meeting of the Indian National Congress in 1887 to provide a forum for the discussion of social issues. Bharat Mahila Parishad was formed as a part of National Social Congress. Ramabai Ranade, in its first meeting, encouraged women to work side by side with men for the regeneration of the nation. They could devote their spare time to volunteer work, teaching orphans, inspecting schools for girls, and helping widows find respectable employment. Within the Islamic community, similar movements began after the publicity of the above movements. To promote education among women girls, Anjuman-e-Khwateen-e-Islam, the Muslim Women's Association, was formed in Punjab. In 1916, Begum of Bhopal formed the All India Muslim Women's Conference. The traditionalists, although criticized the Islamic reform like abolition of polygamy, while male-inspired and male-guided organizations for women did invaluable work in educating women and providing them with their first experience with public work, they also imposed limitations. All these movements had a very limited perspective of changing the position of women within the community, without challenging the social structure and caste inequalities which perpetuated women's lower position. The gender bias of the reform movement was most pronounced in the argument that education would improve women's efficiency as housewives and mothers. To promote education among women girls, Anjuman-e-Khwateen-e-Islam, the Muslim Women's Association, was formed in Punjab. In 1916, Begum of Bhopal formed the All India Muslim Women's Conference. The traditionalists, although criticized the Islamic reform like abolition of polygamy, while male-inspired and male-guided organizations for women did invaluable work in educating women and providing them with their first experience with public work, they also imposed limitations. All these movements had a very limited perspective of changing the position of women within the community, without challenging the social structure and caste inequalities which perpetuated women's lower position. The gender bias of the reform movement was most pronounced in the argument that education would improve women's efficiency as housewives and mothers. Women's organizations founded by women. Women's associations called by various titles sprang up all over India in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. Most were geographically limited, but they shared the goal of bringing women together to discuss women's issues. The revivalist and extremist Sarla Devi, who dabbled briefly in social reform, helping in her mother's Sakhi Samiti, but had soon focused her attention on nationalist activities directed at men. In 1910, she formed the Bharat Stri Mahamandal. In 1917, at the same time, a delegation was led by Sarojini Naidu to demand a series of reforms in the condition of Indian women. Sarla Devi made representations before the committee on behalf of the Bharat Stri Mahamandal. The Naidu-led delegation, organized by an Irish suffragette, M.S. Cousins, comprised 14 women and asked that there be better educational facilities for women, improved health and maternity services, and at the same time franchise rights as would be extended to their brothers. Sarla Devi added that in the view of the Mahamandal, the government should set up special educational institutions for widows and enact laws protecting the inheritance rights of Hindu wives and daughters and extend opportunities for women to enter professions. By this time, women had started articulating their needs and assuming leadership roles. They believed that all women shared the same problems. Significant among them were female education, child marriage, observance of Parda, and women's status in the family. It is also important to note that all these efforts were limited to help the women from their own class. The rural poor women could not be benefited. National women's organizations. The decade 1910 to 1920 was one in which first attempts were made to set up All India Women's Organization. The earlier organizations were urban and sectarian, and some of the local or regional women were its members. Some of these were practical social reform organizations, while others were mere discussion platforms for women. So, there was a need to form an organization for all Indian women. Between 1917 and 1927, three major women's organizations emerged: Women's Indian Association, National Council of Women in India, and All India Women's Conference. The Women's Indian Association. The establishment of the Women's Indian Association in 1917 was the first attempt to organize women on an all India basis, and membership was open to both Indians and Europeans. The founding members of the organization were Annie Besant, Margaret Cousins, Dorothy Jivarajadasa, all theosophists and committed to fight for women's suffrage and India's national freedom. The aim and objectives of associations were to present to women their responsibilities as daughters of India, to secure for every child and boy the right to education, to abolish child marriages and other social evils, to secure for women the vote for municipal and legislative councils as men, to secure adequate representation of women in municipalities, talukas, legislative councils, to establish equality of rights and opportunities between men and women, to help women to realize that the future of India lies largely in their hands as wives and mothers, and to band women into groups for the purpose of self-development and education, and for service of others. This organization worked mainly in the areas of education, politics, and philanthropy, but the most important work was educational. The Women's Indian Association competed for women's attention with the self-respect movement. The self-respect movement had a larger agenda than women's rights. Its goal was to establish a society free from the domination of the priestly caste with justice and equality for all human beings. The National Council of Women in India. The National Council of Women in India was formed in 1925 when it was accepted as a national branch of the International Council of Women. The objectives of this council were to promote sympathy of thought and unity of purpose among women, removal of disabilities of women, whether legal, economic, or social, and promotion of social, civil, moral, and educational welfare of women and children, and form a link with national councils in other countries through the International Council of Women. Elitist in nature, National Council of Women in India had both international and national aspects because it was part of a worldwide organization and it had to work at the national and local level as well. Women's concerns. The National Council of Women in India claimed transcended social and religious ties. Women had legitimate rights, but a pursuance of these rights would not infringe upon the rights of men. Indian women had special talents of housekeeping, raising children, and nation building. While the emphasis rested on women, child welfare measures like the National Council of Women in India did not refrain from taking stands on broader questions of women. Thus, while blind schools, maternity, and child welfare societies, deaf and dumb schools were run, discussions were also held in the council on matters of all India importance like Hindu women right to property bill to validate marriages between different castes of Hindus, bill to amend the Child Marriage Restraint Act, birth control, and questionnaire from the League of Nations regarding status of women, legal, political, and economic. The All India Women's Conference. In late 1925 or early 1926, Margaret Cousins, the founder secretary of the Women's Indian Association, wrote a letter to several women's organizations asking women to come from all over the country to discuss women's education. She suggested that as problems connected with girls' education were different in different provinces and localities, it was thought necessary that there should be a women's conference on educational reforms in each province to facilitate local solutions. The All India Women's Conference first met in January 1927 at Pune with delegates from all over India. In the memorandum, the following points were stressed: A. The child's talents should be developed in the service of humanity. B. Secondary schools should also have courses in domestic science, journalism, social science, and architecture. And the third one is women students should be given scholarships to encourage them to study law, medicine, social science, and architecture. In the second conference, decision was taken to campaign for the Sarda Bill against child marriages, and at the third conference, decision was taken to deal with all issues concerning women other than education. And then, at the fourth conference, women's inheritance law reform was discussed, and women's conditions as labor as well as the Maternity Benefit Act were discussed in the fifth and sixth conferences. The conference also had drawn up a memorandum regarding women's franchise, Women's Indian Association, and the National Council of Women in India also supported the memorandum. In the following years, the conference worked for establishing a commission which would look into the legal disabilities of women. By 1940, the All India Women's Conference became the premier organization representing women and worked towards publicizing and propagating women's issues as well as conducting research to provide a database on women. The All India Women's Conference continues to exist today with its headquarters in Delhi, working for the cause of women. Emergence of new organizations and approaches. In the late 1970s, several women's organizations emerged which were not affiliated to political parties or to trade unions. They were called autonomous women's organizations. They rejected the welfarist approach. The autonomous women's organizations took up issues related to women's oppression like dowry, violence within the family, alcoholism among men and wife beating, discrimination at the workplace, etc., to mobilize women for collective action. For the first time, some groups in Mumbai, Delhi, Hyderabad, Patna, etc., raised issues such as sexual exploitation of poor scheduled caste and scheduled tribe women by upper caste landlords. Issues of rape, dowry, murders, crime and violence against women were taken up. All India anti-dowry and anti-rape movements were launched. Such new organizations as Self-Employment Women's Association, which is of Gujarat, Working Women's Forum of Tamil Nadu, Shramik Mahila Sangathan of Maharashtra, concerned themselves with the plight of women workers in the unorganized sector, organizing women labor and taking up the issues of their wages, working conditions, exploitation, and health hazards became an important task for these women's organizations. Organization for Women Liberation, founded in 1984, aims to equip women with the necessary skills for employment, provide support services, and open small-scale industries to generate income for the needy women. Advancement of rural people and nature, which is called ARPAN, was established in 1992 to help women of North Gujarat who suffer due to the prevailing social values. Center for Women's Development and Research was founded in 1992 for creating awareness about gender issues, increasing income of women, and eliminating violence against women. Dalit Women Forum was formed in 1993 to empower vulnerable groups such as women, pavement dwellers, and street children, including Dalit women. Rural Educational Awareness Development Society, which is called READS, founded in 1998, organizes women in order to raise their social and economic status. National and international funding agencies. Funding agencies are institutions or organizations providing grant in aid to different organizations or individuals who are in need. The Ministry of Home Affairs. The Ministry of Home Affairs has multifarious responsibilities to ensure that the government of every state is carried on in accordance with the provisions of the Constitution. In pursuance of these obligations, the Ministry of Home Affairs continuously monitors the situation, issues appropriate advisories, extends manpower and financial support, guidance and expertise to the state governments for maintenance of security, peace and harmony without encroaching upon the constitutional rights of the state. The Ministry of Home Affairs strives to eliminate all threats to internal security, provide society and environment free from crime, preserve, protect and promote social and communal harmony, enforce the rule of law, and provide an effective criminal justice system upholding the principles of human rights. It also mitigates the sufferings resulting from natural and man-made disasters. It is also responsible for preventing and combating drug trafficking, human trafficking, and carrying out the population census decennially and upholding the principles of human rights. राष्ट्रीय महिला कोष राष्ट्रीय महिला कोष, established in 1993, is a national level organization under the aegis of the Ministry of Women and Child Development for socio-economic empowerment of women. RMK provides loans to NGOs termed as intermediary organizations, which on lend to self-help groups, which is called SHGs of women. RMK also has appointed nodal agencies and franchises for forthcoming of its objectives of reaching out to the women beneficiaries with easy access of microcredit for income generating activities. RMK extends microcredit to the women in the informal sector for income generation activities. RMK has taken a number of promotional measures to popularize the concept of microfinancing, enterprise development, thrift and credit formation, and strengthening of women SHGs through intermediary organizations. It also sensitizes existing government delivery mechanism and increases the visibility of poor women as a vital and viable clientele with the conventional institutions. RMK promotes research study, documentation, and analysis, including provision of fellowships and scholarships, of credit and its management, and of successful experiences at various levels in order to promote replication of and dissemination of successful credit extension and management methodologies, and supports the expansion of entrepreneurship skills among women. University Grants Commission. The University Grants Commission of India is a statutory organization set up by the Union Government in 1956, charged with coordination, determination, and maintenance of standards of university education. It provides recognition to universities in India and disburses funds to such recognized universities and colleges. It engaged itself in framing regulations on minimum standards of education, determining standards of teaching, examination, and research in universities, monitoring developments in the field of collegiate and university education, disbursing grants to universities and colleges, and setting up common facilities, services, and programs for a group of universities in the form of inter-university centers. The University Grant Commission also advises central and state governments on the measures necessary for the improvement of university education. It also frames regulations for teachers on the advice of subject specialists and academicians. United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization. The United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, that is UNESCO, was established in 1946 as a specialized agency of the United Nations. Its purpose is to contribute to peace and security by promoting international collaboration through education, science, and culture in order to further universal respect for justice, the rule of law, and human rights, along with fundamental freedom proclaimed in the UN Charter. UNESCO has 196 member states and 9 associate members. UNESCO pursues its objectives through 5 major programs: education, natural sciences, social and human sciences, culture and communication and information. Projects sponsored by UNESCO include literacy, technical and teacher training programs, international science programs, promotion of independent media and freedom of the press, regional and cultural history projects, the promotion of cultural diversity, translations of world literature, international cooperation agreements to secure the world cultural and natural heritage, that is, World Heritage Sites, and to preserve human rights, and attempts to bridge the worldwide digital divide. Other priorities of the organization include attaining quality education for all and lifelong learning, addressing emerging social and ethical challenges, fostering cultural diversity, a culture of peace, and building inclusive knowledge societies through information and communication. India has been a member of the United Nations Educational, Scientific, Cultural Organization since its inception in 1946. United Nations Development Programme. The United Nations Development Programme (UNDP) is the United Nations global development network started in 1965. UNDP advocates for change and connects countries to knowledge, experience, and resources to help people build a better life. It provides expert advice, training, and grant support to developing countries, with increasing emphasis on assistance to the least developed countries to accomplish the Millennium Development Goal and encourage global development. UNDP focuses on poverty reduction, HIV/AIDS, democratic governance, energy and environment, social development, and crisis prevention and recovery. It also encourages the protection of human rights and the empowerment of women in all of its programs. The UNDP Human Development Report Office also publishes an annual Human Development Report since 1990 to measure and analyze developmental progress. It is funded entirely by voluntary contributions from member nations. Currently, it is one of the main UN agencies involved in the development of the post-2015 development agenda. It is committed to help India achieve the global Millennium Development Goals as well as the national objectives articulated in consecutive 5-year plans. The goal of the organization is to help improve the lives of the poorest women and men the marginalized and the disadvantaged in India. UN Women, the United Nations entity for gender equality and the empowerment of women, also known as UN Women, is a United Nations entity working for the empowerment of women. In July 2010, the United Nations created UN Women and it became operational in January 2011. It merges and builds on the important work of four previously distinct parts of the UN system, which focused exclusively on gender equality and women's empowerment. Division for the Advancement of Women (DAW), International Research and Training Institute for the Advancement of Women (INSTRA), Office of the Special Advisor on Gender Issues and Advancement of Women (OSAGI), and United Nations Development Fund for Women (UNIFEM). The main roles of UN Women are to support intergovernmental bodies such as the Commission on the Status of Women in their formulation of policies, global standards and norms, to help member states to implement these standards, standing ready to provide suitable technical and financial support to those countries that request it, and to forge effective partnerships with civil society, to hold the UN system accountable for its own commitments on gender equality, including regular monitoring of system-wide progress. UN Women addresses the challenges of employment of women. It is a dynamic and strong champion for women and girls, providing them with a powerful voice at the global, regional, and local levels. UN Women, among other issues, works for the elimination of discrimination against women and girls, empowerment of women, and achievement of equality between women and men as partners and beneficiaries of development, human rights, humanitarian action, and peace and security. So, students, let us summarize what we have learnt in this module. In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, from small local clubs came a variety of organizations and associations that became the medium for expression of women's opinion. Some associations were founded by men, while some by women. In the late 19th century, several women's organizations emerged, called as autonomous women's organizations. They worked for various issues and social problems related to women. Some national and international funding agencies provide grant in aid to deal with development of women. Some national funding agencies are the Ministry of Home Affairs, Rashtriya Mahila Kosh, UGC. Some important international funding agencies are UNESCO, UNDP, UN Women.